Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the recent Character 2.0 and Character 2.5 update for Nightmare Tag. If you want to see the full patch notes of all the changes, then you can go to the Nightmare Tag Discord, which I'll put in the link in the description. Go to updates and there should be a link of each update that you can go see the patch notes for. Anyway, let's get into the video.
Here's some timestamps so you can go to the exact thing you want to see rather than waiting for me to get to it.
So, since the last update, the Mimic has gotten two new perks. The first one being Toxic Whisper, and the second one being Electric Pulse. So, Toxic Whisper. Poison nearby enemies. Activated by talking to a human within the specified range. Only activates in Seeker mode and only to unmuffled humans. So what it means by Seeker mode is when you are in this mode and this mode. These are the modes it's talking about, not this mode. So, if you are in Seeker mode, then you can activate it, and if the human isn't doing this, you can activate it. And then you have your basic stuff here. You've got the activation range, exposure range. We're just going to go over the main actual interesting things. First thing we'll talk about is the activation range. This is how close you have to be to a person in order for this to activate. So at level 1, you pretty much have to be right on top of them. And then at level 2, level 3, it just increases by a meter. So you're definitely going to want to level one of these up. Then you can do the exposure, which is what a lot of perks have, where it starts off with none, but then when you talk near them, it'll actually expose where they are nearby. So let's say you're trying to find someone and you know they're nearby. You can upgrade the range as well for this. I'm pretty sure this works. When you talk near them, you can actually reveal them, so that way you're not searching around for a super long time. And then the poison damage, which is the amount of poison damage applied when you talk near them, and you can level it up all the way to 80, which I believe before Character Update 2.5 that was 90, so this perk got nerfed since I last checked. Our next perk is Electric Pulse. Disable electronics surrounding your grapple claws. Activate by holding grip while grapple claw is extended. Now this one I've been actually using a lot, as it's actually really good. Once again, we're not going to be talking about these two, we're just going to be talking about these two. So we'll start off with the charge up. This is how long it takes for it to activate. So at level 1 it's 2 seconds, and then at level 4 is 0.5 seconds. So let me show you an example. So if I hold down grip with my grapple out, that'll happen. Now mine is updated, so for you guys it'll take longer. But this is the first thing I wanted to level up, is the charge up, because with it being 2 seconds, you kind of have to catch them off guard with it, like a tripwire. But with it being 0.5, you can hit them with it and hold it down, and their electronic will be disabled. And it's also good. Well, it was good against flashlights if they were trying to blind you, but we'll get to that in a second, as they changed that, and I'm excited to tell you about it because I love the change. And then this just changes how close they have to be to the grapple claw. Of course, you're going to want to level this up to max, so that way you don't have to have the super precise aim with it. So these are the perks for the Mimic. Now, I don't have Charles, so I'm not going to be reviewing those perks, and let's be honest, most of you are just here for the monster anyway. Now, before we move on to the other changes, you still need General Admission to get Charles and the Mimic and their perks, of course. But now, what's new is you no longer need General Admission to get the Entity's 2 bonus perks and Antonio's 2 bonus perks. Moving on to the new changes that I'm very excited to tell you about. I'm actually really excited about these changes, so we're going to get right to it. Okay, so we are here in the lobby area. The snow is now gone. We finally gone back to normal, and it's grass again, which I like, honestly, as I like the grass better anyway. And if it's been a while since you've played Nightmare Tag, you will notice that this looks very different. They had recently done an overhaul with the voting system. Now, I'm pretty sure this was because a lot of people would abuse the fact that you could put entity eyes on the hand thing you would hold down, and only one person could control the whole thing. But now it's all voting, which I think is great. So if the entire server wants to play VHS Run, everyone votes for VHS Run. The next cool thing is what came out in the 2.5 update, the ability to test out the gadgets in the different game modes, which I think is great. This is really great, as I think a lot of people didn't know how to use some of these. For example, I didn't know how to actually use the drop bomb. I had no clue when I picked up the purple tape that it was a bomb, but I had heard about it before and I had been affected by it. So, and I love the descriptions here that lets you know how each one works. So the portal tape, hold trigger to create a portal body, release to trigger to teleport back to body, and you can grab it and test it out. Of course, this one's been in the game for a while and most people know how to use it. You hold it down and then you let go, and you're back at the little white body that was left behind, and you have to hope there wasn't a monster camping you. That's great. Awesome. And I'm not going to go through all of these. And then, of course, over here you have the flashlight or the flash gun attachments. Most people know how to use this. It just changes your beam into a single fire. And then any monster that steps through this will be severely blinded and slowed down until it either disappears or they get out of the range. This one is the flying one. This one everyone knows about pretty much. You hear this every game, and if you're a monster, this is like the worst nightmare, especially if you're the entity and not the mimic. And then the portal gun. I feel like a lot of people didn't know how to use this for a while. Some people would think you would place one down, and then they would try and place another one while the monster's coming at them. When you place it down, you can only place one because you'll be teleported to one of the white doorways, or sometimes red doorways, that goes to each liminal zone. And I'm glad they put a description here for that, because instead of it saying, oh, hold to shoot a portal and that's it, it shows you portal connects to a random zone portal door. So you don't use it like in the game Portal, you actually use it only one portal to teleport to a different zone. Now then, we're going to get on to the changes that I think are really cool. But before we do, I know I'm stalling. Before we do, I want to go over the very small changes. Let's go over the Mimic nerf. Depending on how far you are to a human with your grapple claw, that will determine how much damage you do. So if you are super up close, it's going to take like a ton of hits with your grapple claw. So that will promote the whole swinging with your arms like the entity, because as the Mimic, you probably didn't know this if you play the Mimic, but you can actually hit people with your hands. And you probably didn't know that because the grapple claw was really good for a while, but now it's better to hit with your hands if you're up close. And rather than just doing base damage, it actually does poison damage now. So that means if you get hit by a grapple claw by the Mimic, your vision will darken and you'll lose more health, giving entities a better chance to hit people too, rather than having to hit once, catch back up, and hit again. So there's a good amount of teamwork there. Okay, so the new update with the flash gun is they've changed it to where the initial time you do it, it slows them down, I think by triple, and it takes effect 10 times quicker than it did before. So the moment you do that, you flash it like that, I'm pretty sure it'll just blind them instantly. So you no longer need to hold it like this while they're running at you. You can just go and then continue running. However, now there is a cooldown mode for the monsters. So when you blind a monster with this, there will be a cooldown mode. And during this cooldown, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I'm pretty sure blinding the creature either won't have as much of an effect, or you are just not able to blind the creature. And that's pretty much it for the flash gun, but I thought it was really important to talk about this update because some people might still get used to doing this and just keep holding and holding and holding when they could be doing this and then running as quick as possible to the next area or just away in general. Or some people who do notice it may think they can just keep doing it over and over when in reality there's a cooldown and they're going to just die. And finally, something you may have noticed earlier when I was showcasing the perks with the Mimic is the fact that the Mimic now has a kind of like the Entity. When the Entity is leaving Seeker mode, there's a 1 second delay for it. You don't just come out immediately. It used to be with the Mimic, when you came out of this mode to enter Seeker mode, it would be instant, but now there's a animation and sound, and you can't actually move during it, it seems like. So when you go into this mode, yeah, you cannot move for that 1 second. So gone are the days. Do not worry, people. Gone are the days of the Mimic being in Seeker mode, seeing your voice vision, and immediately exiting and hitting you, because now they have to wait a second. Before, the Mimic was really OP, but now we've got a bunch of changes, and I think the Mimic, there's a fair fight against the humans and the mimics, and there's more teamwork now rather than just the mimics carrying the entities throughout the whole match. And that's it for the Character 2.5 and Character 2.0 updates. Once again, check the description for the Discord to go see the full patch notes. You can join the Discord, and then there'll be an area called Updates, and then you can just go check the patch notes there. But with all that said, that's everything important discussed in the Character 2.0 and Character 2.5 update for Nightmare Tag. I'll see you in the next video.